Ryan Coogler and the lack of queerness in his films. And this critique has led to a lot of backlash, primarily.
I'm gonna just name off a couple of films, right? Just a couple to really highlight like what she just brought up. Like she's saying, oh, you know, the lack of LGBTQ in a couple of his films. So I know he did Fruitvale Station. Did he have to force that into, you know, that story? He could have. Like he could have like threw a random element of that into that story, but it wouldn't have had anything to do with the story. We all know that he did Creed. Could he have thrown that into Creed? Yeah, but would it have benefited the story at all? Like think about Creed and the dynamic between Adonis, Rocky, Creed, you know, his fam, like all that different stuff. Would it have made any sense to throw these type of elements in there? All right, moving on. Black Panther. Come on. What? Why? Where would it make sense? Like y'all let me know in the comments if I'm being ridiculous and dismissive and things of that nature, and you can think of a way to where it fits into it and it doesn't derail the story and kind of overshadow the story, or it just feels forced in a way, then let me know. But all those, right? And then you end up with Sinners at the end of it all. Like it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. So you can't expect that, oh yeah, he got an issue with these people. That's why he ain't putting them in the movies. The movies that he's making have a deeper message. And if you can't see that and appreciate that, then I don't know what is wrong with you. The brother is making movies that have deep meaning and metaphors and representation. It's stuff that means a lot to him. And damn it, man, why can't we have anything? Why can't we enjoy it? They just won the Oscar. Like, fuck. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trey.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Back at it with another video.
Another one.
Today, we're going to be getting into a video by Jew Almighty. He's going to be going over some Ryan Coogler hate that I did not know was happening. But because I'm terminally online, yeah, he put me up on game. Let's go ahead and get into it because this is ridiculous.
Sinners just won 4 Oscars, and all of a sudden, Ryan Coogler is receiving criticism for his lack of inclusion, while his politics and views on the LGBTQ community have been put under a microscope.
Just somebody voguing would have been a very simple, easy ad. It would have taken nothing.
And we gonna stop it right there because, look, I get it. Everybody wants to be included in everything, and this is a moment of greatness, man. Ryan Coogler put together an amazing piece of art, original idea, original screenplay. That's what he won the award for. And somebody got to come and say, hey, well, what about us? And that's bullshit. I'm gonna tell you right now, like, I hate this about, I'm sorry, like yeah, after what I have to say, maybe, you know, people won't view me as such, but I think I am an ally. I don't have an issue with anybody and their sexual preference. Do what you want to do, whatever the case may be. You want to love who you want to love. That's none of my business. Like, more power to you. I'm not going to treat you any different, anything like that. Now, with that being said, I love a good story. I love a good show. I love a good movie. I'm going to watch based on the storyline. And yeah, if it makes sense for the story to have a gay character, lesbian character, transgender character, and things of that nature, and it doesn't feel forced, I don't have an issue with it. But when you start having like thought processes like this, all these shows become cookie cutter. Right? It becomes just a cookie cutter thing to where it's like, all right, we're creating this new show. All right. Do we have a gay character? All right. Check. Do we have a gender neutral character, or can we work in a gender neutral character arc? Does anybody have any ideas on how we can work that in? You got an idea? All right. So we got that in there. All right. Gender neutral character. Check. You know what I'm saying? Do we got a black character, a white character, like this, that, and the third? Like, when we're trying to force all these different things to happen, that's the bullshit that gives these conservative people on the right like all their ammo on how woke is in everything. Like, insert all these different stuff. And this type of stuff gives them that ammunition. We don't have to force things. That's all I'm trying to say. We can have natural, unique, creative stories on all these different platforms, that you don't have to force these agendas down somebody's throat. Sinners was an amazing piece of original art, and it was historically accurate to a point as well. Yeah, forcing these type of things that they're talking about to be included on it could have messed with that story. Yeah, is there a way that they could have done it? Probably, maybe. Would it have been as great as it was? Who knows? I don't know how they would have done it. But you can't make them, and you can't shun him because he didn't include it. That's ridiculous. And we got to stop. Sometimes you are your own worst enemy with all this bullshit.
Away from the film.
And Ryan Coogler himself won an Oscar for Best Screenplay, which is a monumental achievement for a black director telling an unapologetically black story. You would think this will be a moment of celebration, not just for the film or the cast, but for the culture as a whole. But instead, one viral tweet about a lack of inclusion, and suddenly the discourse around Sinners completely shifted.
This conversation is coming about after this black man won an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. I don't like that. How it feels kind of like a backhanded, like, oh yeah, congratulations, this is a wonderful work. But no, that's not how this works. That's not how this works.
The focus was no longer celebratory or on the success or achievement of Sinners and Ryan Coogler, which kind of all highlights this crab in the barrel mentality that we've seen too many times.
Y'all do not want Ryan Coogler to tell y'all stories or to represent y'all. Stop it. You just want to complain.
Where instead of just uplifting a win or celebrating somebody achieving something great, people start intentionally looking for reasons to not like them or to tear them.
Cause I'm sorry, like the tweet, because it all builds back up to the tweet, and you know that lady talking about having somebody voguing, like, and because it wasn't in there, like, and what, right? You don't know Ryan Coogler's views on LGBTQ issues and where he stands. And has he come out and said anything disparaging, discriminating against? I haven't seen it. So if he said anything discriminating against, or that he wouldn't work with, or that he intentionally, I haven't seen that. So why are we creating this narrative that paints him in a negative light? This brother is put together amazing films that are highlighting black excellence and black, well, you know what, that's me assuming, because I definitely, well, the one lady, she's on camera, so we know she's black, but I don't know about the tweet, but it speaks to me as if it's another black individual that is coming at him for this, because I don't understand why we would tear each other down like this on such a momentous occasion. Like, we got to do better.
Down.
What we absolutely are not about to do is do this with the Ryan Coogler on this day, 2 days after he made history as only the second black man to win Best Original. We just not about to do this.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it. The Sinners dance sequence in the movie is really only missing a voguer. It's definitely an oversight. I wonder, has anyone asked him about it? This was the first tweet that started the discourse.
It's a lot of dances that were highlighted in that scene. A lot of dances. I don't think anybody was doing the moonwalk. I don't think anybody was, I don't know, I'm gonna just be ignorant. Like, ain't nobody was crip walking. Wasn't no swag surfing. I ain't see nobody hit the U. Nobody was doing the Soldier Boy. With no tap dancing. Wasn't no stomping. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wasn't no, the fraternities wasn't represented. They wasn't stomping and stepping, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like tell me all the laundry list of dances that weren't highlighted during this whole sequence that didn't come and speak up in, bringing up negative things towards Ryan Coogler. There's a whole bunch of dances that weren't included. Like, come on, let's list them all. Let's list them all. Nah. I don't know. The spokespeople for the LGBTQ community they always working overtime. I'll tell you that much.
About gay or queer representation in centers. I think it's worded interesting though, especially it's definitely an oversight part. There are a bunch of different cultures, subcultures, genres, subgenres in the Black community, from music to dance to lifestyle, that were not represented in that specific moment, in that specific scene, which in my opinion is one of the greatest scenes in cinema history. It's my favorite, hands down. But I think anybody can say that about anything that they represent or love that's not represented in that moment in the film, right? There weren't tap dancers in there. If you're from the DMV, nobody was beating their feet in there. They didn't have hyphy dancing in there. Ryan Coogler is from Oakland. It's just so many people that weren't represented in that one specific moment in time in that scene, which makes sense because Ryan was telling a very specific story about a very specific moment in time, and the through line just being Black music or culture in that way. So of course it's not going to represent everything. And I don't think Ryan Coogler has to represent every single thing in his films. No filmmaker, no white filmmaker is asked to represent every single thing. So it's definitely
nobody is asked to represent every single thing in their piece of work. And when you try to add every single thing every single time, it becomes fake. And people can spot it a mile away. I can't tell you how many TV shows that I watch that it's like, oh, they forced a gay character into this. They forced a gender neutral character into this, like some type of art. It's forced. It's not natural because I know plenty of gay people. I know plenty of lesbian people. I know a couple of transgender people. To have a transgender individual in every single TV show nowadays, I feel like is a reach, because it's not every other person that I run into. It's not every other circle that I'm in that there's a transgender person. I know plenty of transgender people because of all the different places that I've been and all the different experiences that I have. But we have to be honest, like they're not like a large percentage of the population. So to have them included in every single TV show, major TV show, is I think it's kind of a reach. I get it. It's a thing now, you know what I'm saying? But it's one of those things that I feel like it's a reach. I feel like it's a reach to like try and make sure that you check all of these boxes for every new work of art. That's all. I'm not saying anything about these people's right to exist. You know, they're all these different things, right? I could care less. I do care when you're trying to force a narrative in where it doesn't really fit. And that's all. That's my thing. Like, yeah, you don't have to have somebody voguing or somebody represented in this historical piece of art, because let's face it, in reality, LGBTQ and or transgender people could say, yeah, they existed, but they weren't out in the open. Like, we didn't start really being more accepting of gay, lesbian, and transgender rights until, recently, within the last 10, 20 years. This is, talking about history and like whatever.
Like an unfair suggestion or ask. But like I said, I don't think this one specific tweet was bad or offensive or anything like that. But of course, with 1 million views, it caused a ton of reactions and responses to it. And just from the comments under that tweet alone, you can kind of see the discourse. Why the fuck would they have a vulgar? They'll have to fix it when it comes to Broadway. They'll have to fix it. It's just really interesting. It's like a built-in entitlement.
I don't know if the they'll have to fix it when it comes to Broadway is serious or if it's a joke, because I might catch heat for this one too, but you know, Broadway has a certain reputation as well, right? So I guess they're saying like, hey, if you're gonna bring it to Broadway, you have to include all these different elements because that's predominantly who's performing and things of that nature at Broadway. I think they might have been being funny. I caught the humor in it.
That it has to be a certain way. When it doesn't, it's somebody else's vision. It can be however they want to make it. I was thinking it was missing a drag performance as well. Again, anybody that wasn't represented is going to feel like, oh, well, it can also include that, but it doesn't have to.
Somebody tweeted that the big dance sequence in Sinners should have included someone voguing. And that conversation turned into people critiquing Ryan Coogler and the lack of queerness in his films. And this critique has led to a lot of backlash, primarily.
I'm gonna just name off a couple of films, right? Just a couple to really highlight like what she just brought up. Like she's saying, oh, you know, the lack of LGBTQ in a couple of his films. So I know he did Fruitvale Station. Did he have to force that into, you know, that story? He could have. Like he could have like threw a random element of that into that story, but it wouldn't have had anything to do with the story. We all know that he did Creed. Could he have thrown that into Creed? Yeah, but would it have benefited the story at all? Like think about Creed and the dynamic between Adonis, Rocky, Creed, you know, his fam, like all that different stuff. Would it have made any sense to throw these type of elements in there? All right, moving on. Black Panther. Come on. What? Why? Where would it make sense? Like y'all let me know in the comments if I'm being ridiculous and dismissive and things of that nature, and you can think of a way to where it fits into it and it doesn't derail the story and kind of overshadow the story, or it just feels forced in a way, then let me know. But all those, right? And then you end up with Sinners at the end of it all, like it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. So you can't expect that, oh yeah, he got an issue with these people. That's why he ain't putting them in the movies. The movies that he's making have a deeper message. And if you can't see that and appreciate that, then I don't know what is wrong with you. The brother is making movies that have deep meaning and metaphors and representation. It's stuff that means a lot to him. And damn it, man. Why can't we have anything? Why can't we enjoy it? He just won the Oscar. Like, fuck.
People saying that it is not Coogler's responsibility to portray every black subculture in his films. And I find that critique actually kind of silly because in that dance sequence in particular, we saw so many different subcultures, so many different black subcultures, that inserting queerness, which really, as that person initially tweeted, it's just somebody voguing, would have been a very simple, easy ad.
And how many times, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to keep harping on this because I think this is so foolish. This is so ridiculous that we're even having this conversation. How many times would you have had to go back and rewind it to catch that somebody was voguing? I've seen voguing. I know what it is. Like, it's not something that I would have caught like on the first watch. I would have had to go back. I wouldn't even caught it in theater. There's no way I would have caught it in theater. I would have had to catch it on the rewind. But whatever. It's that important. It's that important. I don't agree. I don't think it's that important to where we
It would
need to be
have
having this
taken nothing
conversation.
away from the film. And I really want people to sit with why they think black queerness is not a canon event. Black queer people did not fall out of a coconut tree. And they for sure existed in 1930s Mississippi Delta.
But that tweet in the discourse of
They existed, but they weren't out in the open. Like all the think about what they were talking about in this movie. Like even the fact that man, y'all don't come for me because I'm not like watching Sinners like 8 times. So Stack or Smoke, I don't remember which one was in the relationship with Haley Steinfeld, whatever her character, right? Like obviously that's something that that happened, but it was frowned upon, right? Like, so even in the movie, he wasn't open about like them having a relationship. Like either one of them were open about it until they were open about it. You know, y'all get what I'm saying. Whatever, man. Why are we trying to just force everything all at once, all the time?
It really led to the next one, which I think was a lot more divisive. I would like to know Ryan Coogler's politics around queerness, though. He is a film director, just like any other film director, and he speaks through his art, through his medium. I've never heard this question or demand directed at Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg. They never asked Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola, Taylor Sheridan, or Steven Spielberg what their personal politics are and thoughts on gayness. But when it comes to a successful black man from Richmond telling his stories, now this is needed. That is my point exactly. He's telling his stories from his life experience, the things he's been inspired by. The twins Smoke and Stack, I believe, were connected to his uncles or his aunts. It's just really weird that all of a sudden this is a problem that Ryan Coogler has to address, or it's taking sinners down a peg because it didn't have this specific representation, when that wasn't the story it was telling.
And y'all should be ashamed. Y'all should be ashamed. This is how we always operate. It's how we always operate. Just figure out a way to tear some shit down. Like, never fucking fails.
A lot of people are highlighting how Ryan Coogler doesn't have a lot of queer representation in his work. I would like to draw our attention to something else, and that's the amount of vulnerability and relationship and closeness that we've seen between black men, the affection that we've seen between black men. I cannot, that has been sitting with me for these last couple of days. When you saw the way that they embraced each other when they won the awards, the way that they talked to each other when they're on the press junket before the movie was out, while the movie was in theaters, and during this awards campaign season, that you don't see a lot of black men being vulnerable and open and embracing each other like that. And I would be remiss to not say, when we're having conversations about representation, particularly with queer folks, particularly with black queer folks, you want to ensure that safety and representation are not mutually exclusive, meaning that they need to both exist at the same time, right? And one of the ways that we have to challenge homophobia in our communities is through addressing the way that men show up, addressing masculinity. We cannot create safe environments for representation to flourish if we're not challenging the way that men historically show up in our communities. We can't. It's also kind of unfair to put the onus on him to be the one to create spaces for queer representation if that's not a space or a community that he exists in.
Right. He don't have, like I said, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to include it in his art, like I said, especially if it doesn't fit. And y'all can't come for him because of that. That's not, he didn't sign up to only be able to tell specific stories or to have to include all these different elements in the stories that he tells. And you can't, you can always spend your money elsewhere, or go and watch stories that give you that fill that need for you. You can do that. You don't have to force him to do it. He doesn't owe you that. He owes you to direct and produce art as he sees fit, and you will go see it or you won't.
Now, I think there's an opportunity or for a conversation to say, like, can we platform more queer artists, whether that's actors or folks who work behind the scenes, writers, producers, cameramen, whatever the case may be. And it's also, who's to say that they haven't? We don't know who's working behind the scenes as closely as we do who's on screen.
And again, I think these tweets come in directly after the biggest moment in a black director's life, with this monumental film that kind of represented and put on for black culture as a whole. Feels kind of disingenuous, like people trying to purposely steal the spotlight or bring down the moment for Sinners, Ryan Coogler, and the cast.
What I struggle with is that this conversation is coming about after this black man won an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay and has the most nominated movie in Oscar history. I don't...
And he had to fight against the Hollywood as the industry, you know what I'm saying, to even get the funding to make this happen. So not only did he put a whole bunch of people on, produce a brand new piece of art, he had to fight to get it funded. He had to fight to get it produced. He leaps and bounds beyond what he was supposed to make. And this is where we go. This is where we take it.
Like that, how it feels kind of like a backhanded, like, oh yeah, congratulations, this is a wonderful work, but no, that's not how this works. That's not how this works.
You had 14 years to express his concern, but did it on his biggest night. While it can be a valid concern that I don't care about, it's disingenuous due to the timing. Nah, I did it when Black Panther 2 came out as well. You're just a stranger looking for a moment of engagement on the timeline. Maybe specifically he did bring up this same question back.
Who's the stranger looking for the moment? Y'all know this dude? Magneto was right. Who's the stranger looking for the moment, really? Because everybody's been talking about Sinners nonstop all year. And obviously everybody's talking about Sinners because they just won Oscars. Come on. Who's looking for the moment? Like, really, really?
Back then, but I don't think that's the case that anybody responding to this tweet with a confusion or question is looking for a moment. And this interaction had me dying because I'm just so confused. Why? Y'all got Tyler Perry. Fuck you and fuck you and Tyler Perry. But a lot of responses to that tweet were really interesting. People don't do this to any other demographic.
I stopped watching Tyler Perry movies a long time ago. Does he always include LGBTQ whatever? Like, does he? I stopped, so y'all let me know.
When they achieve great things. That is 100% facts. All of a sudden, when a Black person achieves something, they're responsible or have to put the whole entire culture on their back or have all these demands placed on them for representation. But Black males always need to be problematized. I wonder why.
Y'all do not want Ryan Coogler to tell y'all stories or to represent y'all. Stop it. No, you do not want that. You just want discourse. You just want to complain. You just want to say something on the motherfucking internet.
Because guaranteed, the type of stories that he's told and the way he tells them, come on. Do y'all really honestly believe that he wouldn't tell a story about somebody from the LGBTQ community? Like, come on. We've seen all the stories you've told. If it was the right story, I have no doubt in my mind that he would tell the story. Like, let's stop. Stop reaching.
Stop it. If y'all really cared that much about gay representation, y'all would not have let Noah's Ark movie flop. And that's all I'm gonna say.
And then people start going even deeper with it. Absence of queers and sinners is simply the average Black heterosexual imagination of Black history. I don't know how that statement even applies to anything. Sinners didn't say gay people or queerness didn't exist. It told a very streamlined story about
It was not mainstream. Why are we acting like just because it existed that we have to make it mainstream and highlight it? If even the fact that it did exist, it was something that was shunned. Let's be honest. It was something that was shunned. It was something that was not brought to the forefront and not brought it to the light. So it was done behind closed doors. It was something that has been historically done behind closed doors until recently. So you can't change history. This is supposed to be in the 1930s or whatever. Prohibition and all that stuff was still going on. So you don't get to say, yep, people was openly gay. No, they weren't. They were hiding the fact that they were gay. There were plenty of people that were probably still gay, but they were hiding it. They were not openly gay. So stop it. Stop it. I'm so upset that we're having this conversation.
I can't believe I'm even having to explain this. They told a very streamlined story about two brothers coming back to their hometown in the South from Chicago and trying to build something of their own in a racist Jim Crow time period. Not to mention, it's a fucking vampire movie. Can we relax?
Yes,
Despite that, Black, trans, and queer are all up and through Reconstruction and post-Reconstruction history onward. The first trans woman to testify before Congress was a former slave. It's like he's making a completely separate argument because who argued that that any of that wasn't real or wasn't happening. It just wasn't a specific story being told. My brother in Christ, Sinners was not a historic reenactment of Black history. It was a vampire movie. Facts. Y'all just need to be honest and say you're looking for a reason to tear down Ryan Coogler because he is a successful Black man. Not only that, the dude is a Black man, doesn't code switch, tells his stories, employs his people, is married to a beautiful Black woman. So why are we nitpicking this man all of a sudden? Why are we judging Sinners for the things that it doesn't include instead of all the greatness that it is?
I'm gay and I genuinely enjoy seeing gay representation in the media, especially when it comes to Black gays and Black queer and Black LGBT element, all that. I genuinely love it. But what we absolutely are not about to do is do this with the Ryan Coogler on this day, 2 days after he made history as only the second Black man to win Best Original. We just not about to do this. Ryan Coogler to me is one of the greatest directors and filmmakers and writers, whatever you want to call it, that this world has ever seen and the world is going to ever see. But then I started kind of seeing tweets or whatever you want to call it, where people are basically demanding and saying that, oh, he needs to make LGBT aimed content. First of all, how you gonna tell this man what he needs to make? I don't think that's how that works. The thought process of some of y'all, baby, I will never, ever, ever understand, because in what world does that make any sense that you're gonna try to force somebody to make anything for your liking?
You putting up money? Y'all put up money for him to put this together, to write it, direct it, fund it? Why y'all think y'all get a say on what he does and doesn't create? Ain't nobody put money on the line.
Is you cool?
Y'all do this thing where a Black person makes it, achieving a new height of success. You throw every single issue affecting Black people on their shoulders, then criticize them for not solving or addressing it all. Stop it. There were Asians in Sinners, right? There were Asians in the dance sequence, right? Okay, because I was just wondering. And the responses to some of these is just funny. Yeah, we should cancel him because he didn't have Black people in wheelchairs spinning in circles and popping willies to represent the disabled Black community. That is kind of how all of this sounds. The Ryan Coogler LGBTQ conversation is stupid and misguided. He doesn't need to make any queer-focused content, nor should he be obligated to even feature queer characters. What he should do is mentor and uplift Black queer writers and galvanize their work.
This is the shit that got woke, identified in a bad light, in a negative light. Shit like this. These type of conversations, these type of arguments are completely ridiculous. And these are the kind of things that people will go towards when they're like, yep, see, woke. This is what woke gets you and get it canceled. This is the type of shit. We do it to ourselves. I always was trying to think of when people were talking so bad and disparagingly about woke or whatever the case may be. It's who, I know what the far right conservative behavior is. I know what that is. And then I was like, yeah, far left liberal behavior is kind of weird, but I didn't have specific examples to readily just bring back into the light. Oh, this is one. This is stupid. This is one. We got to own this one.
Even that, the entitlement and what he should do. Ryan Coogler doesn't have to do anything for anybody. The only thing he has to do is stay Black and die. I think the demanding part of this is really disingenuous and entitled because Ryan Coogler is a creative putting on for his culture and his life experience. The dude has been nothing but respectful, nothing but fair, and a good representation for Black people. That's all we can ask. Ryan Coogler has only directed 5 features. That's crazy. I thought it was 6, but he didn't direct Creed 2, I don't think. So it was Fruitvale Station, Creed, Black Panther, Black Panther 2, and then Sinners. Yeah, 5. He included queer representation in 2 of them. He was respectful to Black women in front and behind the camera, and today he's getting torn apart. It shows no matter what effort or outreach you make, it doesn't matter. See how people create issues where there just isn't one. In response to that original tweet, no, you don't. You're actually secretly hoping that he's homophobic so you can have a reason to hate him, because you probably feel he's gotten more successful than a nigga has any right to be. No one has to secretly hope anything. He's an Oakland nigga who plays played football in college. He has ignored and never included LGBTQ in his film. So now they're just making an assumption that he's homophobic out of absolutely nowhere. He probably says pause in conversations. I don't get why we need to play dumb on this in the first place, to be honest. Crazy. It's weird how every time queer black people ask to be represented in stories that are supposedly about all walks of black life, Sinners was not about all walks of black life. It was a very specific story about the Delta, about two brothers, about vampires, fucking vampires. I think people keep getting lost in that. The greater black community acts like they're asking for too much. It's not wrong to ask why there's not a clear queer dance in Sinners. It was much more than asking about the dance in Sinners. It was questioning his political beliefs and where he stands with the queer community. But I think this tweet really hits the nail on the head for this topic in a lot of ways. Sinners is not and was not about all walks of black life, though. No film is, so why did that even become a thing? Expecting any piece of art to reflect all walks of any group's lives is the problem. Like, that's not the whole issue right there. Everybody stop projecting. At the end of the day, Ryan Coogler has done nothing but make great films and represent the black community well. He doesn't owe anything to anyone. I get the idea of wanting to be represented and wanting representation on screen for yourself and your community, but demanding that from one specific director for absolutely no reason, especially if he has no ties to that specific community, and then questioning his views on things, calling him homophobic with no evidence, is all just a bunch of reaches and a bridge way too far. Ryan Coogler has done nothing but be great for black people. But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting. And thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.
All right, so that's the end of that one. I know I got on my soapbox, but come on. Like, with a topic like this one, I think it's justified. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Did I go, am I wrong? Am I the problem, right? Am I the problem? Am I being dismissive? Am I being too hyper focused on a specific part of it? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, I'll holla at you.
Hating on my energy. I don't think you wanna be my enemy. I pop out, they go wild, so celebrity. Too busy winning, I forgot that I got frenemies.